Picture this: a traveler, a complete stranger, is lost somewhere in a small city in Pakistan. It's late, it's cold, and he has no place to go. He knocks on a random door. Within minutes, he is sitting at a dinner table. A full meal is placed in front of him. A bed is prepared, and the family that welcomed him, they refuse to take a single rupee. This isn't a fairy tale. This isn't a rare story. Search any travel forum, any backpacker blog, any documentary about Pakistan, and you will find hundreds of stories exactly like this one. Pakistan is consistently ranked as one of the most hospitable countries on the planet. Travelers who visit expecting the worst leave calling it the most human place they've ever been. But here's what nobody is asking: why? Not just what Pakistanis do, but why it is so deeply embedded, so instinctive, so completely effortless for them. Because the answer isn't just cultural, it's psychological, it's ancient. And once you understand
Please, come in.
it will quietly
You must be
change the
tired.
way you treat every single person who walks into your life. There's a phrase in Urdu that sits at the very heart of Pakistani culture: Mehmaan Nawazi. Loosely translated, it means the art of nurturing your guest, but that translation doesn't do it justice. Because in Pakistan, a mehman, a guest, is not just a visitor. A guest is considered a gift from God. There is even a saying passed down through generations: Mehmaan Allah ka rahmat hai. A guest is a mercy from God. Think about what that belief does to a person's psychology. When you truly believe that the stranger at your door is not an inconvenience but a blessing, your entire nervous system responds differently. There is no calculation. There is no, what do I get in return? There's only one instinct: give. Psychologists who study prosocial behavior call this unconditional generosity. And research consistently shows that people who practice it report higher levels of meaning, deeper social bonds, and significantly lower anxiety. Not
It is
because they are
important to
giving
remember
things
the
away,
restrictions on
but because the act of giving without conditions removes the fear of scarcity that quietly poisons so many of our relationships. Pakistani parents don't teach Mehmaan Nawazi like a lesson. They live it. Children grow up watching their parents drop everything when a guest arrives. They watch the best food come out, the best room get prepared, and slowly, without a single lecture, that identity becomes theirs too. It is not a rule. It is a reflex. But here is where it gets even deeper. Pakistani hospitality isn't just about the guest. It is about the host. There is another word you need to understand: Izzat. It means honor, respect, dignity. In Pakistani culture, how you treat a guest is a direct reflection of who you are. Your izzat, your honor, rises when you give generously. It rises when you sacrifice your own comfort for someone else's. It rises when you go beyond what is expected. And this isn't social pressure. This is something far more powerful. Developmental psychologists have studied what happens when generosity becomes part of a person's identity rather than a choice. The research is remarkable. When people internalize giving as a core part of who they are, not just something they do, but something they are, they experience giving not as a cost, but as a source of pride, of joy, of deep self-worth. In other words, Pakistani hosts don't give because they have to. They give because giving is who they are. And here is what that creates in a community: trust. Deep, unconditional, generational trust. Because when every person around you operates from the belief that your honor depends on how well you treat others, the entire social fabric of a society changes. Strangers become family. Communities become unbreakable. We live in a world that is more connected than ever, and somehow lonelier than ever. And part of the reason is this: we have forgotten that how we treat others is not separate from who we are. It is who we are. Now, You might be wondering, Pakistan is not the wealthiest nation on earth. So how do people with very little give so much? I want you to sit with that question for a moment, because the answer changed something in me when I first understood it. Picture a mother in a small Pakistani kitchen. The pantry is almost empty. A knock comes at the door. She pauses. Then she smiles and starts cooking anyway. She did not calculate what she could afford to give. She didn't think about what she might run out of. She simply gave, because somewhere deep in her bones, she trusted that it would be okay. This is the most profound part. There is a concept deeply woven into Pakistani culture called Barkat. It comes from the Arabic word for blessing and abundance, but its meaning goes beyond having more. Barkat is the belief that when you give, God gives back. That generosity doesn't deplete, it multiplies. Psychologists call this the abundance mindset, the belief that there is always enough to share. And it is the direct opposite of the scarcity mindset that drives so much of modern anxiety, hoarding, and social isolation. Research from Harvard and the University of British Columbia has shown that people who give, regardless of how much they have, consistently feel wealthier, more secure, and more satisfied with their lives than those who hold on. Not because they have more, but because generosity rewires the brain to perceive the world as abundant, rather than threatening. Pakistani families who serve a full meal to an unexpected guest, even when the pantry is almost empty, aren't being irrational. They are operating from a psychology of trust. Trust that the world gives back to those who give first. And generation after generation, that trust has been confirmed. Not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, consistent warmth that has made Pakistan known across the world. So here is what you can take from this today. You don't need to be Pakistani. You don't need a big house or an elaborate dinner table. Pick one small act of Mehmaan Nawazi this week. When someone enters your space, your home, your office, even a conversation, make them feel like the most important person in the room. Not because you want something, not because it's polite, but because you choose to make their comfort a reflection of your character. Do it once, then do it again, then again. Because here is the truth that Pakistani culture has quietly understood for centuries. The way you treat people isn't just hospitality. It is your identity, and your identity, once formed, shapes everything. Mehmaan Nawazi, Izzat, Barkat. 3 words from one culture. 3 truths that belong to all of us. Somewhere in the world right now, a stranger is being welcomed like family. A table is being set for someone who didn't expect it. A door is opening before someone even had to knock. That is Pakistan. But it doesn't have to only be Pakistan. If this video reminded you of something you already knew, something you maybe forgot, share it with someone who needs to be reminded too. And if you want more videos exploring the hidden psychology behind the world's most remarkable cultures, subscribe. There is a lot more coming. See you in the next one.